2, 3.
Welcome to the Friendly Geordies podcast.
We have business to attend.
Hello.
Well, first of all, before we address the business, Miss Love, if he sounds sick and delirious, it's because he is.
He's method acting.
I'm method acting for a role.
He is.
He's playing Daniel Day-Lewis's character in There Will Be Blood 2.
Yeah.
And in this one, he has AIDS.
No, he has the kissing disease, which I guess is an STI as well.
Mono, it's called. I don't know.
Mono. He has one disease.
He's got mono AIDS.
Mono AIDS.
But his disease is called homo.
Yes.
Disease, according to Miss Love. Fact. General quote. You can look it up, sign up to the up late, and then you get the unadulterated footage of Miss Love saying very deeply homophobic slurs over and over again. Now,
I learned from the best.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Moving from.
Glad to be a positive influence on the future.
There you go.
Okay, so first topic of the day, and I'm going to urge some caution because I think, Jordan, you might be upset by this entire thing. Mm-hmm. What's your opinion on the Fatima Payman situation?
Not first off.
No, stop stalling.
Stop stall. Do you know who this is?
An Islamophobe says what?
Oh, okay. He's got me. No matter what I say after that, does it?
Okay, for those of you that might not know what
Miss Love at his mind games.
we do have some Americans. We do have some Americans watching us or listening to us. So
Do
I'll
we?
just give you. Yeah, we've got a few.
What are they doing listening to
Sure.
this at 8 a.m. in the morning?
Well, they're going to listen to the Trump and Biden segment that we're going to do after this. So stay in tune.
yes.
but
yes.
for those of you
Our
that might-
analysis is much more important than Van Jones's on that matter. You chose right.
Yep.
Fatima Payman is a senator from Western Australia. This is their first time being in the Senate.
Is the last name Payman?
I think so. Yeah, that's her name, Payman.
Revert.
Comes from a long line
Convert?
of Payman.
No, I think
Convert.
maybe she's no, I think she might have married someone that was Payman. I don't know, but either way, that's her name. She's a senator from Western Australia, and she decided to cross the floor for a resolution that was tabled by the Greens, recognizing Palestine as an independent state. Against her party's guidelines and her caucus's recommendation, she decided to switch for the vote. And as a consequence, she was initially suspended. And when she went on Insider's ABC, a TV program here in Australia, she said that she would do it again, which means that she is now permanently disbarred from the caucus. And I think she might have to quit the Labour Party.
Cool kiss.
Now, so that's just the background of it. Jordan, what is your opinion?
In 30 seconds or less, ticking. The clock's ticking.
Well, Ali and I think are in agreement that it was obviously just a Greens ploy to try and, because, look, you just have to understand this, right? Do you seriously think that the Greens thought that they were going to get some mad policy shift that would bring peace in the Middle East by bringing this resolution, let's say, to the Senate? The answer is no. It's the same thing that they do with everything from housing to climate change. It's all just to posture with their branding of we're morally superior.
Sorry, just before you can continue, but I just wanted to remind our audience that not only was it a resolution, but it was a non-binding resolution, so it would have had no impact on the government to modify or change behavior. It was essentially a symbolic vote.
Exactly.
Continue.
So it's very obvious what's happening here. It is all about, aren't we amazing? Isn't it amazing that we don't have to deal with the Israeli lobby? We're so much better. We're so much better than the majors. It's the same positioning that they put on everything ever. It wasn't to get any material results at all. It was purely just to make this mad advertising media run spin. That's clearly what they accomplished and set out to do. So well done, Greens. You got your mad little free advertising W that seems to be the entire point of your party's existence. That was great. I just don't understand why Fatima fell for it. Why would you do that? The entire point was to get this exact result. This just played well into their hands, better than anything else that they could have ever done.
Emotions, man. She fell for the emotions because, look, first of all, both Jordan and I, and you would know from all our previous podcasts and videos that in essence, we agree with Fatima's point of view. It's not that we're against recognizing an independent Palestinian state. However, there's a way to do it. Now, if Labor's policy on this is something that can be contested, but how do you contest it is the question. Do you want to basically go all in a non-binding Senate resolution, or do you want to wait for a moment where your influence can actually have an impact? Because now what's going to happen is she'll have to leave the party, obviously.
Such as enforcing international criminal courts. That's a move forward.
That's
a move.
So now you'd have to leave the party, and now we've lost a credible voice in the Labour Party that could have advocated for this side, and all of this because you just got emotionally manipulated by the Greens.
So weird. I really don't understand what the thinking was here. It's just bizarre, boggles the mind. The other thing that's incredible is like everybody sitting there and saying, why is she getting suspended for this? This is some mad, deep conspiratorial point. No. You cross the floor on anything in the Labor Party, usually it results in expulsion, let alone suspension. That's how it rolls. And there's very good practical reasons for this. Like, I understand that you always
What is the practical reasons? Because just for the record, apparently if you do it in the Liberal Party, you're allowed to do it in the Liberal Party. But for the last 100 years, without exception, Labour doesn't allow you to cross the floor.
Exactly. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. The second one is, again, this is another PR point from the Liberal Party, because how often does anybody cross the floor on the Liberal Party and vote on their conscience? And usually it's on some social issue like gay marriage or something like that. It's never on anything particularly substantive. Why are they crossing the floor? It's purely so that they can every now and then say, we survived. We have like diverse and free thought. But behind closed doors, there is almost identically the same level of party discipline. And it is because you do not want a situation like in the US where there's technically parties there, but it's much closer to what like we tried in ancient Athens, where they're all essentially just independents. Like they are under this banner of Democrat, but really they don't know their vote shit. And as a result of that, you don't get much done in Congress. You don't get much done in the Senate because, like we saw with Joe Manchin, just withholding his vote and not getting anything done with like climate change, you can do that. They do it all the time. Democrats do it constantly. And it's just as bad in the Republican Party. You can't get any legislation through if it's not just bound, and it's like, it doesn't matter if you agree or don't agree with it. You have to vote as a bloc. This is the whole point of getting like a cohesive, holistic program through Parliament. It's just, that's the way that it's done. To have this idea of just like, I just vote on my conscience and shit. Well, then run as an independent, dude. The whole point of things is like joining the Labor Party it is the party of getting material benefits to the public. And the way that you get material benefits to the public is punishing the fuck out of anybody that steps out of line with this stuff. Because if you do this, it just opens up the fucking door. And like you like that system? Look at America. Look at how little gets passed in Congress and the Senate. Constant gridlock. And there's other reasons for the constant gridlock there, but one of the main reasons is no party discipline.
And just as an addition to what you're saying, if you look, the Liberal Party kind of represents a very specific demographic. Their coalition isn't very diverse. It's kind of like, property gentry. And so there's like not a lot of diversity in opinion in that party. So if you cross the floor, it's usually for some stuff that, the rest of the party can deal with. But with Labour, because you've got like this rainbow coalition going, if you don't enforce the party discipline, your party's going to get stretched into all directions.
Very easily. Very quickly. Like, it's exactly what Penny Wong was saying. It was just like, I didn't agree with not voting against gay marriage, but I voted for it because that was like the block thing. She did what you're supposed to do. There's like a bunch of things that you don't agree with. The whole point is you have your disagreements out of Parliament, but when it becomes when it becomes like party policy, that's when the argument ends. That's when the debate is over. They've reached their consensus. When they go to like caucus meetings, when they go to conferences, this is the time to have those arguments. You don't have these arguments on the Senate floor.
Okay, now moving away from like what we think is right and what the ground reality is pretty bad for labor. The fact is that the optics of disbarring a hijabi first-time senator over an issue that, let's be real, recognizing an independent Palestinian statehood is already part of the labor platform, and in fact, the government, all of Australia, has a bipartisan agreement over it. Getting suspended for this is going to have some very demotivating effects on the rank and file. Because let's not forget, this isn't some like, niche millennial desire. This is a very mainstream view in the Labour Party, particularly Labour left, and also supported by people that are old age boomers that have been advocating for this for the last 50 years. So what I'm trying to say is that this is going to weaken the Labour Party further because there's going to be a lot of people that will be pissed off with Albanese and the Labour establishment for doing this. Unfortunately, Albanese had no option but to do this because he has like 100-year of tradition of the Labour Party to uphold. So I'm not saying necessarily that anyone is wrong, but the effect is going to be pretty bad for Labour.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be great for the Greens.
It's going to be great for them.
They succeeded in their
No, this
stunt.
was like, look, the Greens very successfully wedge and undermine constantly and deliver no results ever. And I've got to say, even for their standards, this is a huge win.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate. The optics are horrible for Labour Party. And this is also alienated a lot of those key Western Sydney seats, those Muslim seats that we talk about.
Moose
seats.
Moose.
They're not going to like this.
Moose love. They're not going to like that. No, they're not going to like it at all.
Moose.
Especially because I am absolutely shocked at how much media coverage this got. This became national agenda story for like half a week. It's
Do you
gonna
think that
stick
they'll
in
have
people's minds.
independents running in Southwest Sydney, like in London or whatever? Like independents will run and
Oh yeah,
get
they'll
Oh,
seats.
yeah. There'll be independents
And they'll get
running.
seats. But they'll get
Who
seats
knows
and
who'll win? But
some sheikh is like,
A lot
I
of-
run.
a lot of Labour, let's just say they'll be less motivated to vote for Labour this time around because of the Palestine thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing because like there's a higher Muslim population obviously in England, but in London there's like different enclaves and cities, like areas that have different independents that win.
Yeah. Maybe we'll end up there at some point too, but we'll see how it affects. But it's not going to be great for Labour Party, unfortunately.
Oh well, enjoy the ride, I say.
And now it's gonna.
Yeah, you're right.
This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough for everyone, man, because you're essentially gonna have to, and this is for the Labour establishment. Like the deal that you're signing is that you're gonna essentially have to support a very insane government in Israel, because now not only
So what was she protest? What did she want? What was her protest?
recognition of an independent Palestinian state.
It doesn't seem that extreme.
It's not. It's something that like both Labour and Liberal actually agree with
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah,
But they have to pacify the Israeli lobby
Right.
that doesn't like these kind of resolutions.
right.
But what I'm trying to say is like Israel is about to like wage a full-scale war against Lebanon, which is going to be way harder
Shit.
than the war in Gaza.
It's
and
really
the
gonna
war
do
in
that.
Gaza. Let's be real. I don't know
It's
how if we can say this publicly or not, but it hasn't, let's just say, been as favorable for the Israelis as they had hoped it would be. And Lebanon and Hezbollah is going to be way worse. Now, the problem is that the Israeli society, do you know Benjamin Netanyahu's approval rankings are back up?
no way.
Do you know why?
Yeah, because they love him.
Easter.
Because now he's going to wage a war against Lebanon. The problem is that people assume that the reason why he was unpopular in Israel was because he was being too harsh on the Palestinians. No.
He
They
wasn't
were
being
upset
harsh
that he
enough.
wasn't being harsh enough.
Yes.
What?
And as soon as he
Yeah.
he launched the attack on Rafah, and also simultaneously is waging a war against Lebanon, his approval ratings are back up.
no way.
Which means you're kind of looking at a really radicalized society And Labour Party is going to have the job to defend it when it does stupid nationalist dictatorial stuff like this.
I just don't understand why it's resulted on their job. I really don't understand why people look at global events and are like, fix it, local council. What is this?
That's a fair point. We're
Why
nobody.
do people do this? Like, it shouldn't be our fight at all. We shouldn't really be involved in this at all, but this is like the national agenda that could really sink a government that is done right by the people in every regard, economically, services, what?
Yeah, people argue that it's irrelevant of your power, it's the morals of it, you know?
Yeah. Okay, that's all well and good. Why is it moral for you to sit there and sink a government that has like lifted fucking everyone out of poverty then? Why is that moral?
Yeah,
Why is that moral to give it to like these...
Some people could easily justify it. I don't. I agree with what you're saying, but like, you know, a lot of people would justify it. They'd be like, one doesn't conflate the other, blah, blah, you know, that kind of shit.
Yeah, they've got crap arguments. They're just wrong on this. Like, it's like this... It's honestly the same. I always think this when it comes to international affairs. Every time anyone's ever just like, you're not doing anything, it always just reminds me of the scraggly long-haired guy at university with the Vote One Socialist Alliance for University Council. Why? Because we're going to pull the troops out of Iraq. Are ya? You, Dwayne. Are ya? Go, Dwayne. Good on you, mate.
I get
but,
it.
We shouldn't forget that, like, that guy holding that sign was right about the Iraq War and George Bush wasn't. And now George Bush agrees that guy was right.
Huh?
Now George Bush agrees that guy was right and he himself was wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, some of these things, the public usually is right about these kind of hunches.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely right. But like, it's just like, I'm sorry, but you know, international affairs and governing is a little bit different to like what's right and wrong on like on a moral level.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
pragmatism is also a thing that exists.
I just don't understand how no one can get this. It's such a simple point. Why is it just this thing of like people seriously think that like, no, like the right thing happens and then you just get that. I swear it's just like brainwashing from Hollywood or something. It's just like the good guys win in the end. It's like, do you live in the real world? Do you know what happens? Like, do you know how these things unfold?
I mean, does that even does Labour's decision even, that's not like, that doesn't mean that they can't revoke that decision, right?
What?
The Palestine thing, they can revoke it. They can down the line be like, oh yeah, we know we recognize Palestine now. They can do that.
Yeah,
no, but they have. They already have.
They have.
Yeah,
and Penny Wong even voiced it.
So what is the big concern?
The big concern is, look, I did a video on this, right? But the big concern is that the Israel lobby in Australia has powerful connections to the Israel lobby in the US, and the Israel lobby in the US basically controls the US government. And so if you piss them off, they can exert pressure on you. It's all outlined in Bob Carr's book. Like huge pressure. Massive pressure.
Dude, not only...
Like they can remove governments if they want.
Did you hear about that? I think it's some representative from Brooklyn who was running for election, and he made the cardinal mistake of being pro-Palestine. Immediately, AIPAC,
the black dude,
funneled $10 million, unheard for like a small shitty ass seat in Brooklyn. $10 million to the opponent, just drowns them with advertisements of the opponent, and ends up crushing.
Took him out.
Yeah, took him out.
Yeah, crushed him.
And it happened in front of everyone. And he was saying, like, he kept going on TV, and he's like, "You do realize this, right? Overnight, everything changed for me. I just said this, and then $10 million, a record amount for a seat like this, by the AIPAC lobby." Damn. And he kept saying it, and then the result was he was wiped out.
Oh, fuck.
That's the reality of the situation, right? And then you don't have a representative that is like, I don't know, arguing for you to have like your bins properly removed, and you like all of a sudden like you'll have all of these like sweetheart council deals going out to some corporate bigwig and shit. And like it's just like, yeah, but we were right morally. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Some people prefer that. It's crazy. Some people would rather.
Yeah, and you know why? Because they're not poor. That's the
Maybe.
thing. It's always
Yeah,
some
that's- yeah.
shithead from Sydney University that
Yeah,
comes
that's
from the
fair.
North Shore that sits there.
let's
They've
not,
got their
let's
morals.
not throw around suburbs.
But it's true. It is true. It's just like, look, you can have like these like it is just a luxury belief. It's
Yeah,
like,
I get that. It's like you can care about the big issues when everything else is taken care of for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you're not hungry, it's very easy to sit there and like have lofty ideals about like international politics.
Fair. Very fair.
And I think this is a lesson for anyone in labor or any political party. Like it's important to have emotions and be principled, morals, but it's also important in the political world to pick your battles.
Pragmatism.
Because now you've lost that influence in the Labour Party. She'll be
Yeah.
gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
She'll run for independent. Maybe she gets elected.
Probably not.
Probably not. How is that helping the Palestinians?
So it was a green
Because you see the opposite, the Liberal Party, their view on the situation is completely different. Like it's going to be way worse
the libs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for this entire issue. So
Meanwhile, you have the Labor Party standing firm with the International Criminal Courts. The Liberals aren't doing that.
no, they
Liberals are absolutely saying, like, yeah, let's just break international rule. Why? Because the Israel lobby wants us to. So we're just going to break that precedent. That has huge ramifications on international
And
crime
they
in the
just
long
follow
run.
their-
But that's a practical battle to fight.
Look,
That's the difference.
you know what the difference is? Honestly, I know this is going to sound harsh, but the Labour Party supports Israel but has put a red line on genocide and ethnic cleansing. I honestly think that the Liberal Party will probably not put a red line on ethnic cleansing.
No, obviously.
I think they'll be okay with it.
No, they'll be fine.
I think they'll say as long as you do it successfully and as long as you don't kill the entire population.
Oh, they'll just be in denial
Because-
about it. They'll
because-
just say that it's not happening.
And I'm saying this only because their U.S. counterparts, the Republicans, are very openly saying this. Like people like Nikki Haley, not Trump, the establishment Republicans, they're saying go kill them all. They literally say finish the job, eliminate all of them.
Yeah, Nikki Haley's the moderate.
And Nikki Haley's the
Remember that.
moderate.
Remember that?
So
Yeah.
if
This
the
was
Labour,
the voice of reason campaigning against Trump.
Right.
so if
yeah.
Albo isn't there, the alternative isn't that someone will come and support the Palestinians.
Yeah, right.
Someone will ignore massive crimes.
And you think it was just planned by the Greens? It was something that was just planned.
Well, if they didn't
strategically.
Absolute political maneuver. But
Yeah,
yeah,
if
sorry.
they didn't do it, then they're
maneuver.
probably like high-fiving each other right now that fell remarkably well into place. Because
Yeah.
they're the winners.
Yeah. Yeah.
They gain everything from this.
Yeah.
Publicity, just a breakage of their biggest opponent, the Labour Party, possibly now have a better shot at winning that kind of a seat. It's just like they're the winners in every which way, and Labour is the loser.
Yeah. It's a dirty game. That's what I
And so
think.
is Fatima, to be honest, because I think her political career might have ended.
Yeah, that's the end of that. And what was gained?
Nothing. Nothing was
Yeah, was
gained
she
for the
elected?
Palestinians.
Yeah, I assume
Nothing
she
was
was
gained
elected.
for
Yeah,
Labour.
yeah.
Nothing was gained. The only one that gained is Greens.
That's it.
Yeah.
The big winners.
Fucking Greens, man.
Anyway, can we go on to something else?
Yeah.
I hate this subject.
All right. Next segment.
Ben Affleck.
Greatest actor
debate.
alive, yes or no? Yep. Oh,
The
now we're onto
debate.
something.
Yeah, the debate.
Did you watch the debate?
Yeah, I watched it. Fucking oath.
Thoughts, boys.
Okay, so my thoughts are obviously different from Jordan's because we've been arguing over this for the last 4 to 5 days. I think it's a wrap for Biden. This is the end of the road, my friend.
You don't think that, surely.
I do
You think he's
that.
not going to the
Holy
election?
Shit.
No, I think he will, but he'll lose.
Right,
Oh
okay.
shit. Really?
I don't think he's going to get replaced. I don't think the people that matter are in any mood to replace Joe Biden. Even though all the media and New York Times has come out and said that that they support Biden stepping aside and some other Democrat coming in the open convention. But I think, first of all, Joe Biden has to agree to it. It seems like Joe Biden doesn't want to.
He's not. He's standing.
Joe Biden's family, from reports, seems like are not really keen. They think that this is like when you get down, you come back up, Jack. Like, I think that's what they're thinking, that I'm going to come back up.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I think he's going to lose.
Really?
What do you think, Miss?
I think the debate was, very sad. Very sad. Like, it was like crap on all ends. I think Biden came up above Trump just.
You reckon?
Yeah, just.
Okay, how?
See, this is what we need. The voice of the
Go
everyman.
on, go on.
Hey, what are you talking about? The intellect. This is the high.
Chief political correspondent.
Yeah. Okay. So I think
layman view.
I think Biden did better more based on what Trump didn't do. So the only things that Biden did well was he at least mentioned some facts in reality. Like, he was like, I've looked at the numbers and that's completely incorrect. Like, he's the only person saying the numbers on that are wrong, which I thought was just like name calling. And then as soon as he was like, I've looked at the numbers, like, I'm like, oh, okay, there's actually some substance. So that was cool. And then I think the reason Biden just won was because Trump did so badly with like the insurrection question, dodged it. The fucking
Are you okay, Miss? I love hearing this because
Yeah.
I'm getting a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
But are you just getting this from CNN?
I mean, I watched it on CNN. That's where they did the debate.
No. Like, why do you?
He's not watching the post-analysis pundits.
But
Haven't
why?
watched that.
Why is he
Haven't watched
saying
that.
that? Oh, he dodged the insurrection. That's like MSNBC talking. I mean,
I guess
is that something that you came up with yourself?
yeah, I mean, sometimes there's coincidences
Miss
in
Love
the
classic.
world. I guess.
So you think the whole insurrection thing was reprehensible and Trump shouldn't be the president because of it?
I didn't say that. I'm
Then
just
why
saying.
do you-
He's
why-
pro-insurrection.
I
He
didn't
just
say-
wants to hear Trump defend it.
No. I didn't say I was that. I'm not saying that either. I'm saying, like, when a question is asked for you, you should answer it, irrelevant of what one thinks of it, right or wrong. You should answer it.
Maybe that's interesting. Maybe
And he
what
just
I got out of that
deflected
debate
it. He
was
just
that
deflected it.
Trump was being his usual self, and Biden was too weak and frail to defend
But
himself.
didn't you find that Biden got under his skin a bit? All those weird
only when he said the
faces
porn star thing?
I don't know, man. All those weird faces Trump was making, like he couldn't get under Biden's skin like Hillary. He wasn't like cool and calm, you know.
So you
got
think
this?
you think that okay? So
Fucking- Say please.
so you think that Biden?
I think he came up on top just. I think you're right. He's old as fuck. He looked.
did he look senile?
Yeah, he looked bad.
If you were voting in the election, would you not based on the fact that he's too old and senile?
No, I'd still vote for him, but like I think I'd still vote for him because you can be old and senile. Like it's not perfect, it's not ideal, but like whatever, dude. It's not the end of the world. They're both very old. I think they both seem tired and old.
Okay, look,
It was generally quite sad.
even
though.
if I agree with
Generally quite sad.
That's my takeaway.
even if we agree with Miss Love, the polls aren't looking good.
Really?
How do you explain that then?
Really? So Trump's
Trump's
ahead.
winning in the polls, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the swing
how do
states,
you
the states
explain
don't
it?
matter.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Fuck
Look,
to find
you know
it.
what's amazing?
Media?
It's like, dude, they
Media
really
bias.
should have Miss Love on those panels of undecided voters. Where it's a
One
bunch
leg.
of guys from Nebraska and Maine. Yeah, Miss Love's on there with an iPad.
Yeah.
Sitting there.
Yeah.
Just being like, Polly doesn't like the insurrection, do you, Polly? And just feeding him crackers. Well, he's clearly from Nantucket. And then, like, they always have.
Is he hitting the pirate demographic? That's what we're here to find
Yeah,
out.
Sharon Pirate expert. Captain Balabragic. Well, I do very much appreciate the formality.
I mean, I don't know why the polling's that way. I don't know.
You have to admit one thing. Maybe my assessment of the debater is wrong. Maybe Miss Love is right. But
Here's the thing. I listened to you talk about it and then I watched it. So maybe my assumption was Biden was going to be terrible.
I think that's what happened because
Yeah.
I told
He watched
both
it
of you.
fresh.
I didn't
watched
watch it
it
fresh.
fresh.
I didn't watch it fresh. Ali was like, "Man, Biden was so bad," and I was like, "Man, it wasn't that bad."
But you have to admit that Biden's team are idiots.
He
They
shouldn't
should
have.
have never agreed to that debate. And
I think that
point
what they were
proven.
saying afterwards is that they should have agreed to the debate, but they should have not taken Joe Biden off like a 2-week world tour.
No,
And
they
then-
shouldn't have agreed to the debate. Because if you look at his performance as a response to the debate, so if you give him a 10-minute speech where there's no like
kills
someone
it.
he kills it.
Yeah.
In fact, even his like post Supreme Court verdict, which we'll talk about as well, the Supreme Court verdict about president's powers. The speech was great. Like,
Yeah,
it
that was
really good.
You mean after?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one came today.
Let's be
Oh.
honest, a lot of that came down to the fact that they've clearly taken him to the same fake tan salon as Donald Trump. And I'm telling you,
It works.
this is just how it works. If you are over 60 and you're running for politics, get a fake tan.
Yeah.
Yeah, his tan
Shaves
looks
10
nice.
years off you.
Dude,
The
come
man
on.
looks 7.
I mean, come on, though. Trump, though. Trump's tan does not look good. It's like, get the ears at least. It's so lazy.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
it-
no
it's-
time.
The goggles.
No time.
Sometimes he just has white eyes.
There's no time. There's no time for the ears. Just leave him. Fucked. He looks. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
to look my most effective, just most powerful.
It would be very. You know,
Fake
see,
sad.
here's the thing that I.
Hell yeah.
Here's the thing. I watched Biden's after speech thing. You know, the after speech, whatever it is, and it was really good. Like
Yeah,
it was good. Like he was G'd up. They've jabbed him with some stronger B complex. You know.
No, it's just that he wasn't on live television for 90 minutes.
Yeah, he did well.
No, he came off tired on television. I think that he was genuinely very tired.
Yeah.
And when
you know
you're
that-
genuinely very tired as an 80-year-old, I haven't had your
I know how
nap time
that
for
is.
2 weeks, Jack.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, this is the whole thing.
This
Not
is
only is he our
me.
resident pirate, he's also our resident 80-year-old.
Yeah, I know.
He's
how-
constantly sick and tired like Biden. Like, he is having a Joe Biden debate night tonight.
You know,
am.
the
killing me, Jack.
he was
Can't do this for 90 minutes.
that whole week-long thing at Camp David was to prepare for the debate.
What is Camp David?
No, but that's what they were saying. Like, they were saying that the whole time they were sitting there and drilling him and over-preparing him, and then they said...
Again, proves my point that it's staff for idiots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're saying you don't do that to Biden. Biden is a natural scrapper. He's good at arguing off his feet.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Let him do it.
because if you watch the debate, part of the reason why he keeps getting lost is because it's not his own words.
Exactly.
It's someone else's words
Yes.
that he's been drilled in for the
Yes,
last 3
yes,
days.
yes.
And he's an old man and is like, wait, what was this the response to this? That's why the whole thing was like, I'm going to beat Medicare. He jumbled up 2 or 3 answers together.
Yeah, that was bad. That was his worst response. Where he just stopped talking. He's like, "We beat Medicare." It's like, fuck, that was bad. That was really
And
bad.
Trump's like, you sure did beat Medicare.
Yeah, you beat it to
right.
death.
You beat it
Man,
to
I
death.
think
That
that we
was-
can all say, though, that the highlight
was-
of the responses out of all of it was, what are we talking about here, morals? What is it? You're out there molesting women, you lied, you started an insurrection, and sex with a porn star on the night that your son was getting born. Morals of an alley cat.
Yeah.
And it cuts to Trump and then he just goes, I did not have sex with a porn star. That is incredible.
The
Not like I would
fucking-
try and defend the I don't molest women on streets point. I think everybody thinks that you're a legend if you have sex with a porn star, but that's the one.
That's the thing.
Because he
you
knew
do.
Melania was watching.
Fuck. But I was gonna say, like, I watched Biden's speech and I was like, yeah, he's killing it. But then I watched some of Trump's one, which was an hour and a half, so I didn't watch it all. But I watched Trump's one, and the thing with Trump is, right, Trump, after you analyze him, it's so easy to be like, he's lying here, he's lying, it's all bullshit. You can fact check it, and you're like, yeah, you're right. But as soon as Trump is in front of you talking, it's impossible to not be like, he's right, damn it. It's just impossible.
You're right.
Once again, I was just like, he's right. Like, I can't disagree with him, even though it's just hard to call him a lot. It's just, he's just, I don't know. He's very charismatic.
For me, the funniest moment was, I don't think if a lot of people never talked about this, but when Trump is talking about abortion, he's like, I just think we should leave it to the states. Now, some states, Joe Biden wants to kill the baby when it comes out after 9 months.
Yeah.
I think that there's medical exception. I think if the mother's health is at stake, if it's incest, I think you should be allowed to do it. Some people don't agree with me, but I say you have to get elected. You have to get elected.
Yeah, fuck
So good. It's just mental farts.
yeah.
Have to get elected.
Two
wonder-
alphas past their prime.
Yeah.
Round 2.
So there's
Round 2.
Is there going to be 2 more debates?
One more.
I mean,
One more.
it depends if both of them agree to it.
And if Trump gets back in, it's going to be whack.
I reckon Trump won't debate again.
Wants to leave on a high.
He just had the best debate possible.
Do you
Can't
reckon it's
win
the
it.
best possible?
For
Well,
him.
look, no,
Yeah.
honestly, that's where I seriously think that you're wrong, Ali, because you go to swing voter polls, and the thing is, look, because it's just vibe, and especially when you're talking to swing voters, why are they swing voters? Because they're self-interested idiots, and they're not like remotely interested in policy or anything, and so they're just pitching it on vibe. So they're seriously voting for President of the United States on, he looks a bit old, doesn't look like he has much energy. I don't know if he could beat Kim Jong-un in an arm wrestle. Like, it's like that kind of stuff. Like, that's what they, like, it's like, you go down the line with these swing voters and you say, okay, even if we're just going to go on personality, like, essentially you're saying you're going to vote on, you think that Trump is morally reprehensible, you think he's a shyster, you think he's a criminal. Like, they all agree that he's a criminal. They hate the fact that he won't take any,
I mean, I don't know if he's a criminal anymore, bro. After today's Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah.
What happened?
He got absolved, baby.
He didn't get absolved. So the Supreme Court essentially said that the president has immunity to do whatever the hell a president wants.
When he won't.
When they made a distinction. They said for official matters and not for private matters. Now, so all the stuff that's going to go into court is determine whether a president's conduct was official or whether his conduct was private.
How so can you have sex with a porn star on official duty?
No, you could, because you can always argue. Now, Nixon, for example.
Oh my God. Official.
Tapping your opponent's phones. Now, on one hand, you could argue it's a private thing. He was concerned about getting reelected, and he wanted to get dirt on his opponents, so he decided to get the phones tapped. Spin 2, this was an official thing. The president was informed that there are certain criminal activities that have been happening in the opponents, and because it's the Democratic whatever opponents, this is such a large extent that this threatened the State of the Union, and I decided to tap the phones. Is it official or is it private?
Yeah, but how do you swing that with like tapping Stormy Daniels?
Yeah.
I was worried about my performance and not looking relaxed when talking. It's like you're really getting into that. Like, I shouldn't pay any money for petrol on my tax because, like, I just drive to work and that's it.
Now, so
it's like I don't think that's true, dude.
Now, having sex with a porn star isn't official. It's definitely private, but that's not the offense. The offense is he never declared it in his financial. He never declared the payment. Now,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, that is not an official.
Why?
Why is it?
He has to declare it for official purposes. He doesn't need to declare it to his wife. He needs to declare it to the state. It's for official purposes, and he decided to not do it. What I'm saying is that this is a question that's going to be like debated at courts now. But having said that, for those of you that think that like the president of the U.S. has become a king after today, the president of U.S. has always been the king. This is not a new law. This is just an interpretation of the old law by the Supreme Court. This is how they interpret it, that essentially anything done by the president falls under their immunity. Now, a lot of lawyers actually genuinely believed it even before this. Like, which is why I always say that, like, the U.S. president, I was telling this to Jordan, that the election of the U.S. president should honestly be conducted everywhere else except for the U.S. So everyone in the world should be voting for the U.S. president and not U.S. citizens.
Oh.
Because the president of the U.S. is bogged down domestically. There's separation of powers. There's like so many things that hinder a president's ability to do something. So much so that every year the government has to close down because nothing can happen. Like every year every president in their term that happens. But when it comes to international affairs, the president is a czar.
Right.
They can kill anyone that they want. They can wage wars against anyone that they want. No repercussions whatsoever.
Interesting.
So I honestly think like the U.S. president is way more powerful outside of the U.S. than in the U.S.
Yeah, interesting.
It's a good point. It is a really good point. I do like it a lot.
So anyways, my point was that this immunity thing, it's not as dramatic as you think it is. The presidents have always done it, and presidents have always gotten away with it.
I'll tell you what it is, though, Ali. It is a real symptom of we are getting into the later stages of the Koch brothers' plan of democracy in change. This is the final call. Huh?
Go on.
I do think that there is a lot of merit to the whole, like, we are watching the demise of the American democracy, but it's got nothing to do with Trump. Have you ever heard this point before, guys? I think this is a very new phrase that no one has ever said before, especially in Crikey. Trump is just a symptom. Okay. Take that, Van Jones, to the bank. You're having your little contributed job on CNN that I'm sure you get paid $1 million for. Nah, you're fine. You've got a nice, smooth, bald head. I like it.
But even he started crying and asked Biden to drop out. Just saying.
Yeah, look, they're all idiots, all of them. Especially, like, the fact that there was that guy that does the 13 keys. Have you heard about that guy?
Nah, dude. I didn't know who Van, whatever names is. That guy is.
Look, I'll let that one slip. I shouldn't know who Van Jones is. It's pathetic that my YouTube algorithm has just made that guy like a pertinent, like, well, we've got to go to the bald guy with the rimmed glasses on CNN, obviously. Like, I need to know what I should have for lunch today.
Young, bold Morgan Freeman. We've got to listen to him.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm shitting over it. I genuinely like Van Jones.
I like Van Jones too.
Yeah, he's great.
And I also like that opinion. I think he was right.
So
he was just
in
crying.
summary, shame on you for not knowing who Van Jones is, miss, okay? All right.
Esoteric the pod.
What's next? Do you know who David Axelrod is?
Do you know who David Axelrod is?
I'm on the wrong pod. No, I don't.
Okay, all right.
Okay, wait. Do you know who Chris Hayes is?
No?
No.
He doesn't know any of the MSNBC
God.
must-see lineup.
He is.
Okay, what about Rachel Maddow?
Yeah, I know her.
Yeah, okay, good.
Fucking hell.
All in.
Way to remember her, everyone playing at home, as it's just me if I was a lesbian.
Yeah, pretty
We
much.
look exactly the same.
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you think a president should have like full-on immunity?
Hell yeah.
Do you think the Prime Minister of Australia should have full immunity?
It's just, there's something more gangster about being a president. It suits the aesthetic to be like, you get to be king for 4 years, 8 if people like the cut of your jib. Don't you reckon? I like the aesthetic of it. Let's put it that way.
It does scare me, which makes Joe Biden's like post the verdict speech even more depressing. He's like,
Oh, like in reality?
Yeah.
Yes, it is terrifying.
Jack,
Yeah.
it's all about the character of the president now. So it's the president of the United States has unbridled power. He's essentially a king. I agree with the dissenting judgment by Sotomayor saying that it's essentially made the president a king, which makes the election way more important because the character of the president will determine the conduct of the president.
I'm telling you, dude, I think that he's going to win. I know that no one believes in Joe.
I have
don't
no
think
idea.
Joe believes in Joe anymore. I believe in Joe.
I just don't know.
I reckon he's going to do it. But you know why? A major thing is that we have the pirate vote down pat here. And the fact that he was just saying afterwards,
Cooked.
what was the response with Joe Biden? And his response was, just felt sorry for the guy. That is not a bad emotion to associate with someone.
Pity.
I feel sorry for pity. It's not bad. What do you associate with Trump?
Depends if he's talking, you know. If he's talking like, what a legend. But then as soon as you analyze what he said, it's like, not that, you know.
What is it?
Liar.
See? That's the general association that you get with Trump. Con man, liar. He's got MAGA voters that just love him, right? But when you're trying to win over swing voters, when you're trying to like build your vote up, which he can't really do at this point, it's kind of maxed out, you really need to have a better impression than you're a con man.
What do you think about Destiny's point?
What?
Someone was saying like, but Joe Biden's performance was bad, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, it doesn't matter what Joe Biden's performance was. People will vote for a corpse over Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And you know what else I think?
I don't agree with that. I think Trump's winning, but
Right.
you think that no matter who it is, the American people are, because just
I honestly think that like it's come to the point where like elections in the US especially, but rapidly across the planet, they're becoming so micro-targeted. You have so much data. You know exactly what buttons to push in, exactly what precincts, you know what resources to allocate to them. It's just becoming, elections are basically just mathematics at this point. Like I don't think it matters who these people are. Like it's kind of just like an interesting sideshow for us to watch, like as a debate or whatever, like just watching like a Jake Paul fight or something. But like, I think that I'm not even talking about this whole thing of like, you know, doesn't matter who the president is. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying that like in terms of electing someone and winning elections, it really doesn't matter who the candidates are. Like that is becoming less and less important. The more that you can just feed people's algorithms with exactly the message that's going to hit them.
What's the Koch brothers thing you were going to say?
Democracy in chains.
Well, I don't know. You were just saying like it's their plan or something. They have a plan.
Oh, their massive plan over the last 50 years, it's well documented, has been to turn America into sort of like an equivalent of what they did in Chile, where they just like locked the Constitution down, appointed all of these judges in there that are very pro-military, and so you can't ever change any rules that favor anyone else except them. So their entire point is to try and bring America back to sort of like what it was in the 19th century, I suppose, like just basically no government and just a bunch of barons controlling that is what they've been aiming for the last 50 years. And they realize that the way that they're going to have to do it is genius, what they've like figured out. The way that you're going to have to do that is you're going to have to indoctrinate heavily judges from law school. You're going to have to pick these lawyers out that you think are going to be like conducive to you. Law students, not even lawyers. You're going to have to drape them in like, Koch brothers University, Koch brothers scholarships, and basically just indoctrinate them into having like a very radical view of the law, which is every appointee to the Supreme Court that Trump has put in. It's just a Koch brother person. And this has been their whole point. This is something that I think that nobody remembers and doesn't give credit to, which I think was just like, that really seems to me like one of the most fucking like fucked moves I've ever seen anyone ever do, right? Like, so the Supreme Court, you're there until death.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, that's crazy.
If you want.
Oh, right,
You can be there until death, so everyone does.
Right.
Now, no, this is the other thing. Now they've all just figured out that like you take one for the team. When you have a judge that's starting to get in your 60s and 70s, it's just like, go out, we'll give you this fat mansion,
Yeah, but
we'll put in a
the
40-year-old.
I don't know. The Democrats have been pleading. What's her name? Is it the old?
She's dead.
No. I know, but like, there's a new one. They're asking her to like just step down now.
Yeah, it's not a Democrat thing. This is a Republican thing. On the Republican side, they all know what they're there for. They all know what they're playing ball for. They will step down. They will step down to replace it with a fresh 40-year-old as soon as a Republican president's in.
I don't know, man. Trump's appointed. They're
side.
all young at the moment. Trump's just appointed 2 really young Supreme Court judges.
Yeah, there's a couple of oldies.
How's
a couple
he
of
appointing
oldie
them?
ones. Huh?
How's he
So
appointing them?
when a Supreme Court judge dies, then whoever is the president at that given point gets to appoint a new Supreme Court judge.
Yeah, but Trump isn't the president.
No, but Trump, when he was president,
Oh,
he had
right.
appointed.
Now, wasn't this horrendous?
Remember Brett Kavanaugh was a big thing.
I remember that name, yeah. Remember that name.
Wasn't this horrendous that Obama got to appoint one of the judges and then the Republicans realized, oh, we don't have to ratify it. And then they just refused to let him have a pick.
What?
So then it just ticked over to Trump and then he was like, I get to pick who it is.
What?
And they just put
But
it
do you
in.
know why it never ended up happening? Yes, the Republicans just made this bullshit story of like, it's a precedent that in the last year of the president, you don't appoint Supreme Court judges. But the reason why Obama was so confident and he was like, fine, was because he thought Hillary was going to come in and she'll do it.
Shit.
Overconfidence.
I don't think it was overconfidence, man. I think it was like he could not do it. They weren't going to let him.
It was overconfidence. He would have done it. And I think if he had known that there was a strong possibility that, because go back to like 2015, the idea that Trump could get elected was a joke.
Yeah.
People thought it was never going to happen, including Obama. Obama's first speech right after Trump got elected was, well, the only prediction that came true is that the sun did come up.
Yeah.
They all thought that he was going to lose. Just like some people think that Joe Biden is going to win again.
So maybe the calculation was that they thought that because he wanted to put up somebody that he thought that the Republicans would bite for, and they said no, and then he was like, well, I'm not going to appoint like some fuck psycho that you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to let Hillary do it.
I'm just going to let Hillary do it. Okay.
So how many of the Supreme judges are like Republican or whatever?
Now it's like 5 or 6, isn't it?
Out of
Yeah,
what?
there's
Out of
about
what? 9?
there's three
Shit.
there's 3 full on like liberal, like Democrat liberal sense judges. There's about 3 that are straight up conservative, and then there's 3 that are like moderate but like usually tilt towards conservatives.
Shit.
See, the whole thing is to get those Supreme Court judges into the rabid Koch brother judge side because they understand that, like, the whole slogan that they've always gone by, the Koch brothers, is if you don't like the rules of the game, change the rules. And that's what they've realized, that, like, really power presides in courts. So the whole thing is to just appoint as many federal... This is why all of a sudden, like, it's like the same things as, like, when Republican presidents talk about why they're, like, killing it, it's always these 2 points every time. Stock market is up. We've appointed more judges than any previous presidency. Those are the 2 points. And it's like, stock market's up. That's not an indicator of the economy doing well.
Yeah.
That's an indicator of pump and dump schemes. And then I
like that.
More judges than anyone else. That just means that you have made the entire court system radicalized. That's what they're bragging about to their electorate.
And what? So they make they can just overturn things, and the judges, like, they can veto stuff.
Well, as I know firsthand from being in a court, you want to talk about somebody who's a king.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
You bow to them.
You bow to them. They're a king of their own little universe in there.
I'm going to be honest, man. Like, I am no conservative, but I think I would have interpreted some of those stuff similar to what the majority judgment was. I would have made one distinction. So, like, even in Australia, I think this applies. Like, any power that comes within the Constitution, so, like, an Australian Prime Minister, like, defense, whatever, like, any power that you get from the Constitution, to have a strong executive branch, you need to give them immunity. And I think the distinction between private and official is correct. However, the one thing that the U.S., the Supreme Court of the U.S. did was that even powers that don't come from the Constitution explicitly, but are not private, there's that gray area which they will interpret as the president still gets immunity. I think that's somewhere where there was scope, where you could argue against. But generally speaking, I think their opinion wasn't wrong. I think High Court of Australia would have a similar opinion as long as the powers came from the Constitution.
Yeah, of course. But what you're saying there, like, that grey area is the vast majority of what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Like I said, man, it's not that, like, the president can do anything. It will just keep going to courts to see if it was official or private. That's going to be the question every time.
Yeah. But that's terrible. Like, it gives him immediate cover.
Yeah, it does. It does give him immediate cover. But I think presidents have always had cover.
Yeah. No, you're right. Look,
Bush was waterboarding people. Bush was doing the Patriot Act is, like, they're like, for example, the stuff that Edward Snowden revealed, NSA stealing. That's all presidents knew about it. Is it illegal? Yeah. Stealing someone's information, spying on someone without a warrant, super illegal. How come no one's going to jail for it? Everyone understood it before too. It's just that it's Trump now that it gets like headlines.
That's true. That's definitely true. You're right. I think the general sway, though, is, like, it is indicative of what the courts are generally doing, which is the master plan of the Koch brothers, which is just, it is to slowly strangle any semblance of a democracy in the United States, to slowly replace it with an oligarchic dictatorship. You know, like, that's clearly what they're aiming for, and this is just, like, a very obvious move that happened that, Ali, I really don't think that they would have had the same response if you had, like, a different makeup of the court system.
No, it wouldn't. If they were more liberals, it wouldn't have gone the way that it did. But I'm just saying that if you were a moderate and somewhere in between, like, if you didn't fall into any camp, there's a good possibility that you would side with the conservatives on this decision.
Really?
Yeah. Because look, if you start making the president accountable for certain things, you open a Pandora's box. There's a lot of stuff that presidents do that in hindsight can be considered completely wrong.
I'll tell you what, like, I did hear this point. It was very rich coming from the Republicans because they weaponize everything that they possibly could. It doesn't matter if it's like a decision, doesn't matter if it's a comment, like anything, right? But they were saying that prosecuting Trump definitely sets a precedent for the Republicans of them to go in and just be like, all right, well then fuck you. Like, we're just going to run this president through the courts for like any bullshit reason we can. That is definitely what's going to happen from now on. So it is just constantly dragging people into the mud.
Right.
That's true. However, I think it was a desperate move on the Democrats' end to try and retain power. And yeah, dude, I really think that like the longer that we get into climate change, the more that like the court system gets skewed in this way, the more that this is getting enacted. Like it's got nothing to do with Trump. It's got to do with the fact that he's a Republican. Like keeping the Republicans out of that position is really important. It's becoming more and more important. And the thing is that it's becoming harder and harder to get the Republicans in on their own merits. The only way that they can get in is with Trump's charisma. Like, I think after this, they're kind of screwed.
Well, the question is who'll follow Trump? Who the fuck will follow that Vivek dude? Maybe.
Oh, yeah. Talk about Riz.
Yeah, but like...
The IT guy.
Yeah, but I don't know what Riz means, but I'm saying like they're not going to get like... They're not going to go back to like... what's that guy? Who did Obama debate in...
Mitt Romney.
Yeah, you're not going to go back to that.
He's gone.
But you're not going to go back to that kind of person, I mean.
No way.
It's going to be like more extreme.
There's like
More
those
nutbags.
Marco Rubio type characters.
Yeah.
But I think like one of the big things that you need to be the president now is just be famous. Like have name recognition is
Huge.
half of your battle.
Well, see, this is the other reason that it's stupid to get rid of Biden. And this is like when that 13 Keys guy comes in, when he was saying that like incumbency is huge. And now that I think about it, sometimes I do get swept up in it. I'm just like, yeah, change the Labor leader. It'll be fine. And then the polls always get worse. It's like when they got rid of Anastasia Palaszczuk for Stephen Miles. I was like, yeah, Anastasia Palaszczuk was going to lose that election. Not as badly as this. It's because a familiar face is worth a huge amount in politics. Familiarity is a very important, powerful thing that you have in your court. So getting rid of Biden just for like, what, that half black guy in the Congress or whatever it is.
Obama?
Yeah, ugly Obama. What's his name?
Who are you talking
The
about?
doctor. The Republican doctor.
Ben Carson.
Oh,
Wouldn't it be
Ben
amazing if they replaced Biden with Ben Carson? And
the
they're just like,
funniest-
finally, a man with energy.
The funniest thing in the world is
Pizza
Ben Carson roasting Biden for being slow. Did he? Yeah, he does. He's like,
No.
Joe Biden is very slow. You
No,
have to admit. Like, Ben, relax.
How is that guy still getting interviewed?
Who's
How
the guy?
is that guy still in contention for being the VP again?
So weird.
Is he the guy that I know he's a doctor, but who's the guy that owned like a long chain of pizza restaurants? Did he die already? He's dead.
Oh, is that
that's a
Chucky? Check it.
That guy,
Shucky Ducky.
and he's dead. isn't he?
Herman Cain.
And he's gone.
He died from COVID
Yeah, fuck.
after not refusing to wear a mask.
Remember the
I remember.
that was so perfect, wasn't it?
Man,
Like,
it's
it's just
just
such a
inhibited.
Sisyphic temptation for the gods, wasn't it? In a huge rally of 50,000
Fuck.
people. Take off your mask. It's inhibiting all the freedom.
And it killed him.
Killed him.
Fuck. Fuck.
Laughing at someone's death.
But it's just... All right.
I'm
In
just
terms of hilarity, I would trade Herman Cain for Trump any day.
just wanted
He's
to-
funnier,
I just
dude.
want to go to one of his pizza restaurants. They sounded yummy.
I don't think that they were.
But there was
quote,
such a
shucky ducky.
there's such a success story, you know?
Dude, that is not a good indicator of good pizza
What?
in America.
What? They're going well.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
it's like the shitter, more convenient it is,
Yeah, that's true. But you like
the
that kind of
less
pizza.
it resembles pizza. I should
Yeah,
want to go there.
yeah.
You shouldn't.
Well, I suppose we'll find out who wins soon enough. If Trump does win, though, I was going to say it was quite bizarre seeing Trump's speech, because in the background now people have his mugshot and it says "Never Surrender." So there was think about how bizarre that is. He was doing a speech, a candidate for like a presidential candidate speech, and there's people in the background with his mugshot.
Dude, he sells that.
I know, but it's just
He's
so.
he's made
it's so
a lot of money from.
I know,
that
but it's
mugshot.
so dystopian. It's like
It's so dystopian.
it's like yeah, we love him. It's like it's his prison
criminal.
shop. It just doesn't make. It's like in what other world? In what other country? It doesn't make. It just doesn't make sense.
Every country, politicians go to jail all the time.
Yeah, but they don't hold up their mugshot as a positive.
And you don't do it as the supposed light on the shining hill. You do that shit in like the Congo. You do that when like a warlord becomes prime
That's what I
minister. You know,
mean.
like it's not.
It's just so strange.
It's supposed to be like the head of the civilized world, and they're sitting there just being like, "Yeah, Mergsha,
It's
Mergsha."
It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird.
scary.
It's fucking strange. It's like is that not strange? It's fucking weird.
Not to me.
What the fuck?
think
We are
it's-
from
he's
Pakistan.
from Pakistan.
I've been actually
Like,
watching
you
a
just
lot
got
of
to
like,
remember that his election was just them being like against all odds, a guy that was in prison winning, and then them just being like, "I'm sorry, there is technical difficulties," and then like 5 hours later they come back and like, "Okay, so the new count is you did it," and then the hand going,
the hand never
going into
stops.
this party. It's going into this party. Man, the hand did not stop that night. The hand did not stop.
I've actually been watching a lot of like annoying American YouTuber fucks that go around to Pakistan being like, the people are really nice. What is this?
Yeah,
Curry?
he sent me a video where it's like, with the guy starts speaking in Japanese.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny.
He sends me like a vlog of some guy in Pakistan who starts randomly speaking in Japanese.
But like, it was interesting to see the guy walking around being like, I mean, these absolutely infuriating American podcasters been like, okay, so I'm an annoying dick, but like, it was interesting to see Lahore, you know, it does look pretty pov.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's the best city.
Is it?
I mean, it's up there.
Fuck. Like, everyone's just, I like the flowing clothing though. Do you know that flowing?
Yeah, I know what you're talking.
That like
about.
flowy gore. Yeah, that was cool. I mean, I don't know. Look, put it this way: if I was there, I'd be like, I'd enjoy myself. I'd be like, this is interesting.
You know what? It would be good for you to just like walk by yourself over there because I think,
Everyone was very nice. Like, they didn't let him pay for anything.
yeah, they don't let you do that.
I mean, that's very, very hospitable. That is not a. That is a nice.
Yeah, that's like a thing that they're famous for now. Like, just
that's
you know,
crazy.
you don't have to pay for shit.
Like, no one's doing that in fucking Italy. You know.
No, but like you've got to understand, like it's also partly because they don't get a lot of tourism,
Yeah.
so it's like it's novelty.
It's yeah. So
and also like the one thing that I've noticed in countries is that like if the local population gets involved in the tourism industry somehow, that's when like everyone starts getting rude. There's like scams. There's like
yeah.
right now, most of the people are not part of the tourism industry at all.
Yeah.
So for them, it's just some like random foreigner.
Yeah.
So they're nice and they're chilling.
Yeah, it's cool.
I noticed this in Morocco too when I was there. Sorry, side note, but one of the things that I noticed over there, because like people were telling me, oh, just be wary of like, you know, scams. People are gonna try to sell you shit and like they're gonna con you, blah blah blah. So I was just on guard. But what I noticed was that everyone over there, while you were like doing some kind of transaction, like if you were buying something, there's gonna be a lot of like, overselling or trying to like. But once that was over, the same guy who was being seedy is going to be the nicest dude ever.
Right.
So if there's nothing that they want from you, like if there's no like transaction taking place, everyone's super nice.
Right.
They become like kind of annoying when there
Yes.
is like that transaction happening.
Totally.
Right. Fair enough.
Anyway,
Well,
sorry.
yeah.
Change the segment, Jordan. Why is Channel 9 firing 200 people?
I think we got the inside scoop on that. It's because people in mainstream media are extremely incompetent and expendable. Surely, right?
So
Do you think that there's any other explanation to this?
well, obviously they don't have a lot of money, as in like they're losing money.
Oh, look, I think they'll manage with their $1 billion of profit a year.
That's a lot of
Is
money.
that,
That's a
do
lot of
they even
bees.
have $1 billion
That's a lot
of
of
profit a
bees.
year?
Hmm?
Do they even have $1 billion of profit a year?
Well, this was a couple of years ago that I was looking at so maybe not now, but I look, if you're clearing close to a B in profit, I think you're doing fine.
Yeah, you're doing pretty
The
good.
thing is, I don't think that commercial television and radio is really stumping in profits. Advertisers are still going to them. Their audiences are shrinking.
Yeah, but that means the advertisers are paying them less.
No, not necessarily. You just have to understand that a lot of these are kind of just like these big private school clubs where they sit around and they have stupid like ideas and they're dumb CEOs that don't really understand new media and how it works. And so they just want to get their name of like, yeah, I've got the Toyota Hilux on the bloody state of origin. That was my contribution. Like a lot of the money just seems to go into this. And if you have connections with these people, you sit there and like, hey, Mick, how are you? Let's go get some meat. Yeah, okay, so $800,000 account for the next quarter. Make it $1 million. Yeah, you smile at me a couple of times a month. Yeah,
That's a sweet job, isn't it?
It's a sweet job.
Yeah.
Like, that's still the world that they live in. So their audiences are shrinking. They're bullshitting about their audiences now. Have you seen this new number where instead of audience, it's reach?
No.
They're using reach.
Really? That's funny.
It's the same bullshit metric that Facebook does on their advertisements of 2 people saw it. But it got the potential of 1 million people that might have seen it.
You know, Netflix.
That's what you're paying for.
You know, Netflix now doesn't disclose how many subscribers they have to their shareholders.
Even to their shareholders.
Yeah, they just say like, "Oh, we'll show you like growth, but we're not going to tell you. We're not telling you how many subscribers have joined
I wonder why.
because they're losing them." Because
So they're just straight up lying to the shareholders.
yeah,
Well, they're not lying. They're
They're not
withholding
lying.
certain information.
yeah, withholding.
That's
yeah.
a type of lying.
Yeah, and did you watch that thing I sent you about like music or whatever?
No, I didn't because it was like a 40-minute clip about music, and I was like,
Mislop's really moved into the next level of boomer stage. It's amazing. Like, I know that I can't talk having the only way to access any interaction with me at all is a Yahoo Mail account, right? But it is amazing that I open that and I have all of these Zoomers that are just so angry at me that this is the only way they can contact me. And then I have one comment, like everyone being like, you need to have a smartphone, blah, blah, blah. This is why you need to have a smartphone. That's the vast majority of my emails. Everyone's saying you need to have something other than email. I'm sick of emails, right? And then you have one thing every day where you just clip up and it's mislove, and then it'll always have some very boomer subheading like, really makes you think. Very interesting. Please share. On email. Please share on email. You and my grandma. That's the only time I've ever got. Please share.
Did you watch it? I think I sent it to you too.
No.
Why?
Because I don't have 40 minutes to sit there and watch a music documentary where the subheading is really makes you think.
Unbelievable. You should be
Can you
ashamed.
just give me the gist?
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I should be, but I'm just.
All right,
I'm a
well,
busy man.
give us the gist. Cause
Busy man, what? You're going to watch more CNN interviews, do you?
I withdraw my point.
Well, give us the gist.
Well, like the gist, the whole point of the thing was interesting because he was saying that society, he wrote this thing being like the birth and death of cool. And he was saying that like society is cyclical in terms of society it's run by artists and it's pushing forward culture, and then it's run by administrators. And it said it happened in like ancient Rome and Greece. It's like in its own version, and it's run by people that monetize something, but then it reaches like critical mass and it just doesn't work anymore. Like the same as like those Marvel films. Like they were making so much money for so long. The last 4 have just completely flopped. So now they have to abandon making them. Because,
Wow.
Yeah, it gets to the point where people are just like, yeah, this is fine. This is like bubblegum bullshit. And then after that, it's like, this tastes like shit. I'm not just plummeted. And
yeah, that's pretty tragic. There's a story about that.
that's tragic.
Just as when like the whole superhero phenomena has nosedived,
Yeah.
Pakistan made their first superhero movie. It didn't work out for them.
Pepsi Man.
They put a lot of money in it and it just tanked completely.
What was it called?
Pepsi Man.
Was it Pepsi Man?
No, like some
Mr. Cricket.
some Persian name.
Anyways,
Oh, that is pathetic.
So
But-
sad.
That is really sad.
but I have to.
They don't even have
They
the money.
can't get a
It was a
win.
passion
They
project.
can't. It's just floods, losing in cricket, having the one guy you like locked up by the military, and now just a flop film. Like released at literally the worst time in history.
That's
I
hilarious.
told you about that
They
journalist.
just
right?
can't win.
I
Yeah,
told
they
you about
can't.
that, like the most popular comedy show program host just came on TV and was almost crying, saying like, "What crimes has we committed as a society that God has put us over here? We are not good people. We have to admit. We must have done
Because they
bad
lost
things."
cricket.
Yeah, because they lost cricket and like, dude, everything is going bad.
It's so brutal.
But you know what I learned?
Just throw the game for him.
You know what, Jordan? You know what I fucking learned, and I think I mentioned this to you, Miss Love, and I need to tell this to you and everyone listening. This is a country that's like income depreciated by 30%, 30 to 40% in a matter of 1 year. Imagine like if your entire nation's wealth depreciates by 40% in a matter of year.
How can that even happen?
Plunging close to 20% of the population into poverty, right?
How?
There's a whole reason as to how, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is, the one thing that I learned is that when you are really at the bottom as a society and like there's no hope, you become really funny. The sense of humor just becomes insane.
Yeah.
Like these guys, they do like these road for interviews like on streets of these people that are just like in miserable conditions, but it's like joke after joke. It's like every person is a friendly Geordies. They're all like these amazing burns towards the government, towards everyone, and I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like these guys are literally starving and the only outlet they have is fucking gags.
That's what happens when that's when you fucked. That's all you got. No one can take that away from you.
It's definitely true.
And they have no respect for anything now. Like they're just
except for Allah.
Yeah, well they don't talk about that, but like they're just like shitting on the founding fathers now, saying like they're full of shit and they're being funny. They're all just like Bill Burrs.
Yeah.
Just roasting every government that ever existed, including the guy who created the country.
That's awesome.
Anyway, sidetrack.
Bravo cunts are hilarious.
Yeah, always.
Every time.
Anyway, I can't remember I have to rewatch it. It was like a 2-hour video. There's a lot in there. But he was saying that, it was all about society, how it's cyclical and how it's going to come back. We're going to get back to a point where the artists are kind of like, all the money makers won't have a choice other than to start promoting original content. The interesting point was he was saying like there's a macro culture and a micro. The macro is like the big companies, big record labels. And he's saying now the micro culture have the most power they've ever had. And the cool thing is he was like, they're both journalists or whatever, music journalists. He's like, look at us. You know, we're not beholden to anyone. If you're not beholden to anyone, you can literally take risks and do whatever you want. You know, same thing as you. There's no one telling you, oh, that's a bit risky. So he's saying anyway, that's all going to come back and it's all cyclical. So like the good times are coming in terms of like art. But he was saying that all these companies now are like crashing and burning because of that, because they don't take risks. And if you don't take risks and just do a formula, then it's just going to go to shit. So they're all losing a shit ton of money and like burning down.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I also think that with this unambiguous freedom to do whatever the hell you want has just moved into a long malaise of people doing the same thing over and over again.
What do you mean?
It's my point all the time that we discuss off air, which is that art has been replaced with content.
It has, but
wasn't your video about AI though?
I think that was in there.
No. There's a lot of things that are in the headline very troubling, aren't they? So you must have got that one.
I think maybe I sent you a different one. No, it was AI as well. I think it was a rich podcast.
Anyways, we're out
very
of time.
rich podcast, like this one.
I wish you listened to it. So offensive, but
we don't have enough.
I'll get into. I was going to,
but you would enjoy it because it's all about. You know how you were talking about that you want to do a show or something. I don't want to. Maybe not a show, but something about like culture and coolness. It's basically a good template for that. Trust me.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Have my attention.
And it's like a boomer with a moustache.
Glass. Huh?
It's a boomer with a with a moustache. So
it's not the guy from Mythbusters, is it?
No.
Just checking.
No, it's not.
All right. Who wants to say goodbye?
Goodbye. Is that it? We got there.
We had one more segment about some unknown celebrity taking a shit in Gwyneth Paltrow's bed. We'll keep that for next week.
Fatima had to ruin that too. Thanks for nothing. Bye.
See ya.